Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. This was billed as our exciting transfer deadline day special, and Kev is joining me. And we were all set, Kev, for breaking news, amazing scenes on the last day. Emery pulling a rabbit out of the hat, Guendouzi coming in, whoever it was, but it turns out we've got Bertrand Traore back. How you doing, mate?
Well, I mean, underwhelmed probably a little bit, but I'm trying to be relaxed about it. I'm hoping we won't be regretting this situation, and I'm also trying to have a sense of, if I'm saying I trust Unai Emery, and a lot of us say we trust Unai Emery, then maybe we've got to trust the fact that he felt that there wasn't good value in this market for what he wanted, and he couldn't improve on what he already had. And he's got, McGinn coming back, and obviously Diego Carlos coming back. And maybe he feels that we know John Duran's maybe more established than we've made out, possibly, and he'll be able to add some attacking threat. And maybe he feels like the summer's going to be a better market, but time will tell. We'll talk all about it anyway.
We will. We've got all that to come. Get your comments in, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are on this transfer window. Have we done enough? Could we have done with more players? We'll go through the ones that have left. I think there's positives to take from that. As we'll come on to, Kev, in terms of getting rid of that, some of those players, giving some of the young players opportunities to go out on loan, but has it left us short? You make a great point about players coming back in from injury, so that could be again in their mind. We'll go through the squad that we've currently got. Is that giving us enough? We'll go through those players out versus players coming in. So yeah, lots to come. Comments flying in already. Please, as I say, guys, as right at the start, drop a like on the video, help us spread the word of the channel, subscribe if you're new, and help us grow. I think we're 4 off 950. So if we can get to 950 tonight and beyond, that'll be amazing. So yeah, do help us. And if we do get, we'll be constantly checking Sky Sports, BBC Sports, Twitter. If we do get anyone in, I think there was, is it Hassan Awar or something that
It's easy for you to say. Who are?
Yeah, yeah. Who are they? So you never know. But yeah, Rod is joining us. Says Bertie's coming home. Happy with that. We've got Unai Emery's joining us. Obviously, Nick wanted signings the other night when we were on. Isn't necessarily too happy at the moment. Fuming today. If it wasn't for Bertrand's return, I'd be level 1000. Transferless FC. Rachel's in the house. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for joining us. Michael, good evening, Michael. Thanks for joining in. Andy Vale says, dull time for us. What message would this send to Martinez and Kamara? That's a good question that we can get into a little bit later, maybe. Michael's been very patient on this and very consistent on this. The days have gone of buying other clubs deadwood. Yes, we need players, but we must only sign players who can improve the first team. And in capitals here, stop panicking and trust the manager. Yeah, I think we've got that. We've got that to heart as well, Kev. I think as well. We've definitely got that at heart. Flipping great. May as well get Wesley back. So don't think Christina's too happy. What's this hold up? I thought Emery signing that ball boy. Emery scouted at the City Ground the other week. Thinks it's the worst window since the 2021 January window. Adam says, seen too much positivity. We haven't had a good window if this is how it ends. Nick is in, joining us. Evening, guys. We missed an opportunity to give us a fighting chance of sneaking a European spot. You mentioned that as well, Kev, so we'll talk about that. Does it stop us from getting into Europe. Duncan, the plan will be to spend big in the summer. Glad Traore's back. The same Bert people didn't want to see on the pitch again before. Will we spend big in the summer, though? Kind of feels like the money is not actually there. Who's going to score the goals with the big games coming up? Where do you want to start, mate? I'll give you the start. Where do you want to start?
Let's start on the point of do we have enough? Do we have enough with the current squad? Now, there's quite a big part of it that doesn't disagree with some of the comments that came in, but I'm trying not to go crazy about it because, but I do a little bit of me does feel like we are going to think to ourselves, if we end up finishing, I don't know, 8th, could it have been 6th? Could it have been 7th? And that does concern me a little bit. You know?
Yeah. It's we said this the other night, it always seems to be the case that when Villa get an opportunity or what we perceive to be an opportunity to try and push on, and to make those 1 or 2 extra signings. Now, whether the market is what it is, whether the prices aren't as reasonable as what we hope, or whether those players aren't available that we want, or we've got to pay over the odds, we never seem to do it, and we always tend to kick ourselves after the event. Now, yeah. I know it's all ifs, buts, and maybes, and we can say, oh, what about if someone gets injured, or if they don't get injured, then maybe you're carrying too many in the squad, or whatever. But you know, John Duran is it's a risk. I know every signing's a risk, but the guy's only played in the MLS. It's such a risk because you're relying on Ollie Watkins, who's got 4 or 5 goals this season. You've let Danny Ings go. We've got John McGinn, who's injured. Is he going to take a little bit of time to come back? We've got a potential injury. We're 1 injury away from, Kamara had a bad injury at the start of the season. What happens if he gets injured again? So it's a difficult one because I do, like you say, I do want to trust the manager, and I do want to give, obviously this time in the summer when he can really assess the players and see what's what. But at the same time, it's like we were talking about all these contacts that Unai Emery had, and players that he could maybe bring in, and players that wanted to play for him. But we're not seeing it yet.
Yeah, I did see a tweet earlier about how apparently a couple of seasons back Arteta jettisoned loads of the Arsenal fringe players, and then now they're top of the league. No, I'm not suggesting that's going to happen. But there's a lot of positives, I think, in getting rid of some of the deadwood.
Absolutely, I've got the thing up that you talked about before. So this is like the window. So Duran and Moreno in, which is total of 28 million. Not that the fees matter too much. 15 million received back on Danny Ings, but then you're looking at, Aaron Ramsey, young player, Cameron Archer, young player. All the rest, they're not got any real future with us, have they? So we can't complain about getting rid of these players because we wanted to get rid of most of them for the last season and a half, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think we would have liked to have seen a couple of replacements coming in. It's more the fact as well that, and I think someone put this in the comments earlier, that Traore, El Ghazi, Bailey, me. I mean, who's the best out of all those? It really is questionable.
It could give you a run out, mate. Yeah.
Could do, yeah. I'd be as sporadically good, I think. But Traore's got moments. I don't think he's any worse or better than Bailey. And actually, if you're looking in the low market, if you had an opportunity, we didn't have Traore to bring in a winger with, he played for Lyon, and obviously has got a decent pedigree, then you take it. But we've obviously had him in the Premier League before. Let's not also forget as well, he has played in the Premier League and scored and contributed.
Yeah.
So it's not what we wanted, but is it better to get him back so you've got an option? Well, admittedly, he's a bit injured still, and I think he's going to have a few weeks away. because maybe they just couldn't get any better options. I'd like to think if he'd wanted Dan Juma, he would have got him. Here's a question: is there anybody that we should have got? I'll ask you that, Rich, but I'll also ask everyone watching. Please put in the comments: is there anybody that's been signed that you think would have really made a difference to our team? Would have got into the first team? Let us know your thoughts, because I can't think of that many ones that would have been that maybe they would have wanted to spend the money on, that maybe were prime targets that we could have got that someone else got. Players that are okay, admittedly. Ziyech, if we would have got Ziyech, that would have been good, I would have thought. But going to PSG, I think. Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, and I think you'd have probably been massively breaking the wage structure or whatever, the wage cap, whatever that might be, to get someone like Ziyech in. You're talking about him at Chelsea on ridiculous money, and he's going to PSG who equally pay ridiculous money. So I just don't think he would have been in that price range. I think you make a good point. I wouldn't be paying 45 million at the moment for Anthony Gordon, and I don't think we would have. That's the type of signing that we can really go for. I mean, it would just be the 2 or 3 names that we've kind of talked about now. A Guendouzi, for example, is probably not available till the summer. And you do make a decent point. Traore did well for Emery previously. He had him at Lyon. Is that right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think so. No. I don't know if he managed him, but I think obviously
he liked him when he was there.
Yeah, when he was in PSG, maybe the crossover.
Yeah.
He's not a terrible player, Traore. I actually think he's arguably more effective than Bailey. Now, that people might disagree with that. I think it's a toss-up. So if you've got another option who can play in wide and forward positions, then it's another option, isn't it? But I just don't think it's an exciting signing.
Yeah, and I think it was one where he could have kicked on at. I think was he a victim of Gerrard coming in, and Gerrard just didn't quite fancy him, because the season before he played pretty. Like you say, he had pretty decent numbers with Dean Smith.
Yeah, like Al Ghazi, really. Just I don't think either of them were fancied.
Yeah, and obviously didn't want to play with any wingers, and then ended up letting all of them go, didn't he? And for whatever we criticise Bailey, in slightly different measures on the two of us, but we definitely do criticise him. Gerrard just didn't like him for whatever reason, and he didn't see eye to eye with him. But since he's gone, the output of Bailey, even with the inconsistent performances, has been much, much, much better. So you've got to think that with someone like Traore coming in, even if it's a different option and he gets fully fit, the way that Emery will use him would suggest that it'll be more effective than say Steven Gerrard would have used him. I mean, it's going to be fireworks if they play both Bailey and Traore at the same time.
Fireworks, maybe fireworks. Maybe there'll be absolutely no fireworks. Maybe be like a fireworks night in a monsoon.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Loads of comments coming in. I'm trying to find out where we are. So Rachel had said, from what I've heard, there is a reset at the end of this year with FFP, so potentially a bigger pot of money is there. I mean, I don't understand the FFP. I mean, Chelsea seem to be bypassing every rule going at the moment, so much so that they're creating they're blocking a loophole right now.
Sorry to cut you off there, but did you see that stat about Chelsea the other day? I saw it. I was in the gym last night. Doesn't happen that often, as you can tell, right? But and I saw a stat that apparently Chelsea, if this Fernandes deal goes through, I don't know if is it gone through. If it goes through, will have spent only 5 million less than the entire Bundesliga.
Wow!
In this transfer window, what an absolute mad world we're living in.
It was something like Chelsea have spent more the same money in the January transfer window than Brentford have spent since World War II.
Wow, that's a good stat.
Something like that. It was on TalkSport earlier. But yeah, I mean, they've obviously taken advantage of a loophole in the rules of FFP, and now that's being blocked. So yeah, it's just crazy. Adam says, think the only worrying thing, so many teams have bought this window and we haven't. I mean, it's one of those with the window. It's certain teams that have bought, isn't it? Like Chelsea have bought a lot of players. and Southampton have bought a lot of players today, but
Wolves have got a
nobody
couple.
else.
Forest and
Yeah,
Wolves.
Wolves 2 or 3, Forest they just buy whatever. But they, like you say, would we have signed any of those players? I mean, the players at Southampton they're getting, are they any good? Like none of them are. They're signing the top scorer from the Belgian league. Obviously, we signed Benteke years ago,
And
but
Samata.
like, yeah, and Samata, it's taking a punt on a player, isn't it? That
And Wesley.
could get you, yeah, could get you 5 or 6 goals that might keep you in the league, but also they could be a Samata and be crap. So I don't know. Like I think there's there's other teams in the league that haven't signed many players at all. Crystal Palace haven't signed many players. I think they signed one.
They've got
Leicester have signed a couple.
Longer, haven't they, from Arsenal?
Oh, have they got him on loan? Have they?
Palace have, I think so. Yeah, I think that's good.
Right, okay. But I think they made one permanent signing then and one loan. But I think one that they're signing Semenya from Antoine Semenya from Bristol City, but he's a championship player. So again, like who are we going to sign? Yeah, I think you make a great point, to be honest. So we've signed Moreno, we've signed Duran. I guess we maybe could have done with if I think the comments from Emery were like Duran is one for the future. That kind of got us thinking, well, we're going to sign another striker because we've let Danny Ings go. But maybe that was just protecting him.
Yeah, maybe it was. Because the one thing I would say is if he is one for the future and he's not going to play him, Cameron Archer looked absolutely brilliant for Middlesbrough in the last game.
He looked absolutely rapid, didn't he?
Yeah, rapid, skillful, direct. I've got to think there's a plan behind this, because if we go on a terrible run in the league, my worry as well is that we could easily lose to Leicester, because Leicester on their day could beat anybody.
Oh, really. Yeah, they're a decent size.
And then you've got obviously City and Arsenal, back to back. So you could easily lose the next 3 games, and you know what's going to happen then. All of a sudden, a couple of chances missed. Bailey spoons on over the bar. Watkins is misfiring, and then it's like, what are we doing? Archer bangs in a couple. Dan Juma hits form for Spurs. Is Dembele going to Southampton? I don't know if that's happening.
Who? Which Dembele?
Dembele, the one that we were linked with.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that was the latest.
Oh, Moussa Dembele. Yeah, no, there's someone that said that a 3 million bid, but they've signed this striker from the Belgian league. So I heard that this morning, and I thought, oh, that must mean that we're looking like we're going to get him, but never came through. Fulham have made a couple of signings, but yeah, I don't know. It's always one of those things. But yeah, I don't think from just on Adam's point there. I think there's certain clubs that make the most noise. Like we've done it in the past where we've signed loads of players in the January window, but this time we've signed 2. Whereas, other teams like I said, Southampton, Chelsea just seem to be signing everyone. So they dominate the news. Gary Howlett's in the house. Hi guys, would be nice to find out who we had bid for, just to see if the money and ambition is there. Yeah, I mean, if we've done any bids, not sure.
Well,
We've got
the players we've been linked with, from Nico Williams to obviously Matt Guendouzi, would be serious money to bring in. Even that
Jonathan David as well.
Jonathan David, players we've been linked with. Now links don't mean anything, but you'd like to hope that at least some of those are realistic-ish, and if they are, then that would be us smashing our transfer record to get them in. And maybe it is not now; it's the summer. Maybe the deal's not able. You're not able to do the deal now, and you got to wait till the summer. I think we felt that before, and then been disappointed in the summer, haven't we? As well. In fact, it flipped around. We were really happy with the last January window. We felt like we'd done well, and added some good additions, and then the summer was largely very, very disappointing. But I say again, I can't think of anybody that somebody around us got that we could have got. And if there is an example, is it because we didn't want to pay crazy wages? I don't know. I just can't think of any clear examples. We said, oh God, they would have walked into our team and they're available.
No, I mean Conor Gallagher might have been good, and I know he's still interested in Premier League clubs. Whether we're one of them on a loan deal, I think he might be. He might be a good one to try and get in on loan. But where's he going to play? Where's he going to fit in? I don't know. But he would be a good player for me. I think I wouldn't mind seeing him coming in if we could get him at all. Aurelio says getting into Europe at the end of this season would make for a frantic summer transfer window. We'd end up buying crap, having too many games next season and ending up like West Ham. I tell you what, though, I'd love a little jaunt into the Europa Conference League or something like that.
Tell you what though, don't get into Europe, right? No distractions next season. We always go out the FA Cup in the first opportunity.
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking, why don't Villa ever enter the FA Cup? And I realised that they do. They just get knocked out in the third round every year. But Leicester City, everyone else was concentrating on their, jaunts to the arse end of Europe, and they just concentrating on the league. Maybe, just maybe, they've got these targets lined up that are really going to enhance our squad. But I can't think anything other than that. If I think it's been a terrible window, which part of me thinks it has been a terrible window, but if I think that, then I'll go crazy. But I don't know, this goodwill that Emery's got, I just don't want that to fall
away. It's dependent on these next couple of games and one or two of the players that haven't been fit coming back fit. That bench for the last game was weak. But if you bring back McGinn, I think Cash was back in there. You've got Duran on the bench. You've got who else was missing? I got obviously Bednarek's gone, but
Coutinho, Traore.
Yeah, Coutinho, Traore's back fit. You've suddenly got quite a few options there. Yeah, I know. They're talking about West Ham interested in him, aren't they? But I don't think he'll end up going. But you've got one or two options. Dendoncker as well. You've got a couple of, and Luca Dean coming back as well. So that gives you more scope, doesn't it? The bench all of a sudden doesn't look weak. Gary says more of a transfer flat cap than a window for us. Yeah. Or cap flap, sorry. Cap flap, not flat cap. Yeah, cap flap. Nick says, should have recalled Tim Irugbunham. He's better than Dendoncker in my opinion.
But he's doing great. His development's he's doing really well. He's doing great. I mean, if we needed him, but I know what you mean. I like him. I think he's a great player. I think he would have. I think Philogene Bidace has looked decent this season. I think Cameron Archer, if he'd been given a chance, would have been a really good option. And the question is it better for them to get some development? And maybe, just maybe, they're thinking, how much of a sellable asset Keenan Davis might be, Cameron Archer might be, Aaron Ramsey might be. If these players, Kessler Hayden might be, Louis Barry might be potentially, maybe not as much as we thought we might get. But this conveyor belt, isn't it, of bringing talent through that maybe, just maybe, like with a Carney Chukwuemeka, you can make some decent money out of them. And I think we've got to look at that and think, if they don't get opportunities to play and they just stick around your under 23, under 21 team, or they sit on the bench, then they become a sellable asset. So I just really want to think in Unai we trust, but I might regret that in a month, and I'm quite happy to say so if I do.
No, I think you're right. I think it's good to look and see those players doing well at other clubs and playing regular first team football in the Championship, because if they came back, the chance are Irugbunham's not going to get past Kamara and Louise. So the best he's going to hope for is 10 minutes at the end of a game. Now, what's better for him? Playing 90 minutes every week in the Championship, of course. So, and then, like you said, I mean, Keenan Davis, they're talking about if Watford go up, which they're in the playoff spots at the moment, they're very inconsistent. But if they do go up, then we're going to get 15 million for him. So you get 15 million for him. You've got Irugbunham, Kessler Hayden, Aaron Ramsey, Cameron Archer, Louis Barry, Philogene Bidace. You've got 6 players there. Now, the chances are 2 of them are probably going to be good enough for the first team squad. And that's a good ratio, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get 20 million for the other 4 players, that's done its job.
Absolutely. And then the other thing as well is that think of the wages we've got off the wage bill. We've become actually we've become too lean of a squad. But if you bring that graphic up again, obviously the players that have left, there has been, I think we've been quite a bloated squad of players that, look, when did Aaron Ramsey's not had a chance in the first team.
No.
Ings, I think, might be the one we might regret for an option up top, but, maybe they thought the opportunity to get the money.
He's injured now for a month or so.
Yeah. Gilbert wasn't fancied. Tariq Wright clearly didn't get a chance. Sanson never really got a chance. Cameron Archer never got past Ings, and obviously, even though Ings has gone now, but they brought Duran in. Maybe they think they can keep Archer out on loan. Bednarek never got a sniff. Nakamba hasn't had a sniff all season. and Augustinson, if you've got Moreno and Digne, then where's he going to play as well? So
Yeah.
actually, we've got a lot of wages off the wage bill. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that John Duran becomes this striker that no one's expecting to be as good as he is, and maybe he plays. I mean, he looks like he's an absolute unit. So, and this is a good point we need to make. He's one for the future, but 19 isn't old in the Premier League now. I mean, Purslow said that himself. If you've got these players coming through and they're not ready for the first team at 18, 19, when you consider what's going on out there, then he's physically definitely ready. I mean, I know we've said about some of our players. You know, I even thought this with Kamara. You know, he's a physically
start of the season we were saying the same thing. Yeah.
You know, Louis Barry clearly hasn't quite developed to that level yet. So if Duran's physically ready, then okay, he can get technically better. He can be coached, but could he be a handful of Premier League defenses? Who knows?
Yeah.
But maybe that they've got a plan, and I just have to. I'll send myself crazy if I don't believe that there's some kind of strategy behind this, because a lot of my brain's going, what the hell is going on? We've brought no wide player in, no striker in. We haven't brought this extra midfielder we were talking about. And it's the links that kill you, isn't it? It's like, imagine Christmas time, right?
You start thinking of them in the team as well. Like you start thinking where they're going to set up, you know, the competition for this person. Yeah.
Christmas time, you see your mum and dad looking through the Argos catalogue and they're looking at that nice bike, and they even put a ring around that train set, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, this is good news, isn't it? Christmas Day comes along and you get an apple and an orange and a piece of coal, and you go, I wasn't expecting that. And we're thinking from some of the press releases and even some reasonable sources at times, Villa are linked with this person, Villa are linked with this person. We start thinking, surely something's going to happen. And then everyone goes out of the club and you're thinking, well, they're not going to empty the fridge and not buy any new food. Well, maybe they've got a strategy and a plan, but I don't know. A couple of injuries as well. If Watkins collides with I don't know, Kamara in a training ground incident, we are up that creek without a paddle, I think.
We are. We could well be. I've got to get through the comments, guys. Please do leave a like on the video though, and please subscribe if you are new to the channel. Help us grow, help us get to that 1K. I'd imagine we're 50 away, so to be just 50 away is just so close. So please help us get there. Drop a like, as we say, and please subscribe if you are new. Rachel says, I think we're now rebuilding a culture and plan throughout the club, which will take time. Yes, it will definitely take time. I just think it's, like you said, these next few games are really key to decide whether it's a risk, isn't it? This is a risk that they've gone for. They've gone for clearing out and wait until the summer. And it's a slight risk. We've just got to wait and see. Dendonka's decent, needs more game time. Can't expect him to do a job when he doesn't play. Yeah, I agree. Summer will be very active, Duncan says. Gary says, we say get rid, but 90% of them could be back in the summer if they don't impress. Yeah, well, that's the thing. We've got to, hopefully they're going to get first team football to try and impress. So, yeah, I think that's a good point. Traore was incredible when on form. He was very good. 20
minutes. No, he's got some absolute unbelievable moments of quality. Traore has, and he's physically obviously a decent specimen. He's unpredictable, and I hope you just get the best of him, really.
Yeah. Andy says, ideal time to build, missed opportunity. Our recruitment policy scrambled at best. Knee-jerk policy to align with current manager's wishes. Langer, ? What is he doing? I think we mentioned that on the last pod, didn't we? Like where it looks like hopefully Emery's having some more say in what the transfers are, and maybe telling people to go out and go after who he wants. Maybe that's been put back to the summer. And I think he does want to bring in his own director of football, and maybe Langer goes more into the data analysis side of things. That remains to be seen, though, doesn't it, mate?
Well, it does. But here's another question I'd pose as well: Would Unai Emery come to the club? Admittedly, he's not been one for making like ridiculously expensive signings, but he's clearly obviously made some big signings in his time. Would he come to the club after being sold the project if they weren't going to back him? I don't think he would have taken the opportunity. He was clearly successful at Villarreal. It's certainly probably a nicer place to live in, a nicer climate than Birmingham. I'm from Birmingham, so I can say that. I don't know if he would put his reputation on the line again to come back to the Premier League if he didn't think he was going to have an opportunity to be successful. You've got the likes of, I saw Fabrizio Romano is obviously a pretty decent source for transfers, saying there's apparently big talk that we're going to revive our interest in Nico Williams in the summer. There's talk of obviously a 45 million bid, and it is not an easy time, I think, unless you're prepared to pay absolutely ridiculous money. And think about other things we've done as well. Like, let's look at what we did before. We felt that the Luca Digne signing was a brilliant signing.
Yeah.
On big wages, and has largely flattered to deceive. Coutinho will be on big wages, as most of his Villa time is flattered to deceive. You bring in Chambers, was obviously a good support player, but didn't play huge amounts and tailed off a bit this season. Would have been on decent wages. Bednarek, I'm sure, would have been on decent wages. Polish international, Southampton, didn't get a sniff. So, and they did say this, let's not forget, if they can't improve the first team, supporting bringing players in, it's more the fact that we're a bit threadbare, but maybe let's talk about the squad. Let's talk about the first team and who we've got left over. Well, I know we touched on it a bit earlier. Like, is it enough? Is it enough?
Yeah. Let's jump into that in a sec. Let me just go through comments. Christina said Dembele was going for like 8 million bargain. I think it might have been less than that, to be honest. It was 3 million. Ziyech would have been good. Alan Evans says no good buying players just to make the numbers up. Got rid of the rubbish now, just trust in the boss. Proper signings in the summer. Be patient, Villa fans. Watch us go next season up the mighty Villa. So very optimistic there. Andy Vales is on Ziyech is on 100k at Chelsea. Rachel says Dembele wanted the sign-on bonus, so wanted to run his contract down as a free agent. I think we mentioned that the other night. It's obviously in his interests to do that. Gary said just glad Bailey has some competition with Traore, and guessing Duran is the same for Watkins. We've got Super Uno Emery says Guendouzi, maybe Deo Lafeo, Ziyech, Gallagher, the ball boy from Forest, Perslow out, and Ayor would improve our squad. Michael's really chilled about this because we have a first-class manager. We're short, but we must not make mistakes of the past. January's not a good window. Summer will be big for us. Gordon, 45 million for a player who can't pass the ball. Nick Salter says Bertie is better than Bailey, and he agrees with you, Kev. Good player, but needs to be consistent, says Michael. Just we'll go through a few more in a sec. Thief said our news, none at the moment.
Ever since
he's going to United.
Ever since that broke earlier on, there's been a potential. I've heard absolutely nothing anywhere about it. I've seen nothing on Sky, BBC.
It's probably just to keep us tweeting. Dembele rejected move to Southampton is linked with a move to Everton. Just an update. Arsenal dumped the Deadwood last Jan and bought well in the summer. Be Happy says, is there anyone coming in at least? Traore is back. Yep, we've covered that. Traore is back. Andy actually makes a great point. Carlos is back soon. It'll be like a new signing. So let's go through some of the. I've got the screenshot up. So this is, I don't know if people can see, but this is the squad. So it would be 3 goalkeepers: Martinez, Olsen, and Steer. 3 right backs: Young, Cash, and Kessler Hayden, as it stands at the moment. 4 centre backs: Mings, Konsa, Chambers, and Carlos to come back. 2 left backs: Dino and Moreno. 7 centre midfielders and wide midfielders in Buba, Dougie, McGinn, Ramsey, Buendia, Coutinho, and Dendoncker. And then 4 forward players or strikers in Bailey, Watkins, Duran, and Traore. That's 23 players and 20 outfielders.
Yeah.
And that's not including a couple of the young players like Hayden Young, Swinkels, Bogard, etc. Feeney, yeah. So I think they were talking about going out on loan as well. So you're talking there, Martinez, Young or Cash, I'll say Kessler Hayden even, Mings and Konsa with Diego Carlos to come back. Luca Digne and Moreno fighting for left back spot. Moreno can obviously play that a little bit further forward as well in certain games. You've got Buba and Dougie. You've got McGinn and Ramsey. Buendia and Coutinho fighting for that spot. Dendoncker, if you want to shore it up and have a bit of a bigger presence in midfield. And then you've got, the forward players is the unpredictability there, because you've got Bailey, who, like we say, is very, very, very hot and cold. Watkins, who is reliable in terms of work rate, but doesn't put the ball in the back of the net enough for us. Duran, who's unproven, and then Bertrand Traore, who, albeit is the output is better than the Bailey, has very, sometimes does an amazing flick or some sort of curls the ball, curls it in from 20 yards out, and then the next minute can't control it. So it's the forward area, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I also think as well, like, we've got to look at a scenario where, as much as there's an opportunity for us to get Europe potentially, we'd have to go some, because I'm expecting Chelsea and Liverpool to do better this second half of the season. I think Newcastle, Arsenal, Man City, and Man United will finish ahead of us. So that's the 7th spot. And then you've got Brighton, who are doing really well. Brentford and Fulham, who currently are doing particularly well. There's obviously, it's not going to be, that easy to do it. It's a possibility, but I think there's only so much you can do to make up for that horrendous start the season, and breaking the bank for players that potentially you don't want just to get bodies in, that potentially going to put people's nose out of joint as well. Might not be the best strategy. I wanted signings as much as anybody else wanted signings. I really did. I wanted us to get someone in that was going to enhance us, particularly in the forward positions. But maybe they just weren't available.
We just said it. If they're not available, you can't get them. And I think Tuan's made the point. She's joining us now. Targets that we wanted that would have improved the team opted not to come mid-season. What do we want Emery to do? Kidnap them? I think we should just stay calm and back the team and the manager. And that I think that's the point, isn't it? It's like, yeah, fair enough. We could have gone and signed whoever. Moussa Dembele, for example. Yeah, fair enough. He's a good striker who possibly would have improved us at a cut price. But that cut price comes with the fact that he'd want a ridiculous wages and probably would want to be the highest paid player at the club. Now, what has he done? What has he done technically to warrant that? So it's a tough one. And then is that going against what Emery has been one for? You look at the Arsenal team now. He put a lot of those young players in the side, so he wants players to play a certain way and in a certain system. And then, if they're not available right now, it's going to be tough going to get into that spot with the games that we've got coming up. We'll have a look at the table as well in a bit, but with the games that we've got coming up in terms of, City away, Liverpool away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home. There's some tough games coming up. So, like you said, we're going to have to go some to even have the opportunity and the chance to finish in that top 7, 8, whatever it might be. So, have they looked at it and thought, well, let's just consolidate here. Let's get these players coached well. Let's get a good system in place, and then we'll know exactly what we need, and we can slot players in to fit into the way that you want to play in the summer.
Mate, I also didn't mention Spurs when I said that. So you've got Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Spurs. Then so that's 5 teams. Brighton, Fulham, Brentford, you think you might get ahead of. But then you've got Liverpool and Chelsea as well. So, and then Palace aren't that far off us. They win a game, we lose to Man City and Arsenal. They're pretty level with us. So I don't want us to be defeatist, by the way. I do feel like if we could have got the right kind of people in, anything's possible. Anything's possible, but I also think as well that the January window is not known for bringing very good value. It's just not. And at a lot of clubs, unless you're prepared to pay absolutely silly money, then you're maybe not going to get the targets that you want. And a lot of people also aren't going to want to leave mid-season when they've got a lot riding on their current clubs. This doesn't often happen. Well, certainly you get people interested, but the summer's obviously where the best business can be done.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, very tight in there at the moment. And Brentford haven't signed too many players. Fulham haven't signed too many players. Liverpool haven't really signed anybody other than Gakpo. So but you can't see them being in there. Those two teams being there for too long. I think Chelsea will have a push up the table. I think Fulham and Brentford will probably drop off. So it's difficult to see how much higher we're going to finish than where we are currently. Maybe we squeak into 9th, but to get into that area is going to be very tough, like you say, isn't it, mate? Because you need, and I think a couple of people have mentioned it. Do you then need to be? It'd be great to get into Europe, of course it would be, but to then have to cope with that squad, the going back to playing on a Sunday. That kind of I don't know. Look at West Ham this season; they can't cope with it.
Yeah, this
Can't
squad
cope with it.
is massively overachieving. It is, and look, I don't want us to be defeatist. I want us to have European nights back at Villa Park. You know, the West Ham fans would probably have sacrificed a relegation fight. They would have been happy to accept a relegation fight if they could have known they would have got the joy of getting to a European semi-final last season if it was a trade-off, because that's why we're doing it. That's why we won a cup run, because what's the point in being a football fan if you just finish 7th or 8th in the league every year? Always used to really annoy me. You know, it's like, you know, you don't want to turn up to work and think, oh, you know, if I could be the 8th best at Greg's today, you know, then I'll be buzzing. You want to believe that you can push on, but let's be pragmatic about it as well. As much as I hate saying that. This squad is overachieving really under Unai Emery. The form, we're not a top 2, top 4 team, but in the last 7 games we're a top 2, top 4, whatever it is, top 2 team, and that clearly will change. Now, momentum wise, if you'd have brought in a Nico Williams or Jonathan David or a Ziyech or whoever else, obviously a Guendouzi, maybe you would have got a little shot in the arm. But if they weren't available, what are you supposed to do? And I'll put the point again. You know, people are obviously asking, you know, well, you know, a signing would have been good, or we're going to regret it. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but tell me someone else in the Premier League signed that we think we've missed out on one there.
Yeah,
I'll be interested to know.
It looks like Everton have had a bid turned down for Sarr. They late bid from Everton to sign Ismaila Sarr on loan. They offer $2 million loan fee and an obligation to purchase Sarr for $30 million if Everton stayed in the Premier League, plus a $4 million appearance bonus. Watford have rejected it.
Do you rate Sarr? I wasn't that bothered when it didn't happen before.
I wasn't hugely bothered. I think, you know, Bertrand Traore fully fit, Ismaila Sarr, you know. Is Sarr any better than a fully fit Bertrand Traore? I'm not sure.
Well, I don't think he is either. If you look at the Championship, he's got 7 goals, 5 assists. I mean, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Juan Pedro's got 8 goals, 2 assists. We're not trying to buy him. So, I don't know. I think it's another player that I think he's all right, but as you say, is he better than Traore and Bailey? I don't know if he is. You know, you pay 30 million, whatever, for Bailey. You paid maybe 20, just under 20 for Traore. So do you need to buy Sarr, who has rumours about his attitude, or I don't know whether that's fair. I don't know. But, you know, there was rumours about that, wasn't there? Maybe that's why Gerrard didn't fancy it. To go back for him when maybe you're not convinced he's going to add the level of value that you want.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't mind him, but like if they're turning down 30 million fees and stuff, or obligation to buy at 30 million, you're talking paying massively over the odds, in my opinion, for someone like that. Comments coming in. Gary says all the Villa Twitter feeds have been embarrassing concerning transfers this window. So many people just do it for likes and retweets, to be honest.
Can I just say on that point, by the way? I was over near Bodymoor Heath today, and I tried to get a little. I was going to do a little video and put it on the Twitter podcast page outside the Bodymoor Heath for the transfer update. Security told me to move, so
did they
come out? It was like, you can't park there, mate. I was like, oh, I'm just doing a quick picture. He's like, no, you got to go. There's people coming out. So I was like, so I hung around for a bit, but he kept like looking at me, and I thought, I better get off. I don't want to get arrested outside Bodymoor Heath. You're on your own. So yeah. So I tried to be one of those Twitter updates, but it wouldn't have been full of crazy rumors. Don't worry.
Yeah, there was no like cars, blacked out windows going into Bodymoor Heath, now into the gates. Ziyech has gone to. Ziyech is pretty much done with PSG. Deal agreed, unlocked on a loan until June. There's no buy option clause included though, and he only wanted PSG apparently. Peter said we should maybe have not loaned Archer out if we play 2 up front and sold Ings.
Yeah,
I don't think we will though. That's the thing. Like, and he seems to like Bailey there, so I don't know. That team ain't getting top 7 though, is it? Yeah. Agreed. Totally agree. Random fact: our owners are NSWE, North, South, East, West. Is the same initial, so we must be going in the right direction. But centre half short 2.
Carlos,
fingers crossed we get Carlos back. Christina says, I think he'll play Bailey as a forward if we're short and Bertrand as a winger. Yep, I agree.
Ouch.
Villa fans are just desperate for success, especially now Newcastle have leapfrogged us without spending that much, really. Yeah, and they've got to Wembley tonight, so
Rather than Newcastle.
yeah, good old Newcastle. No scattergun signings on deadline days. Unai trims the fat. Yeah, just trying to put a positive spin on it. I think Birmingham Live. Come on, guys. One big signing would have appeased us. Absolutely, mate. We're going to be on for another 45 minutes or so anyway till
Plenty
it
of
shuts.
time. There's
Yeah,
plenty of
there's
time.
plenty of time. And if they get that deal sheet in, they've got till 1 a.m. But Kev, I don't want to stand with you till 1 a.m. But to get that deal sheet in. Timon said the start of the season, I said our squad was good enough for 8th, 9th, 10th. Then the squad has not changed significantly. We're still on course for that. Anything else is a bonus. Yeah, I think so. Newcastle only successful because of their oil owners. Let's be real. They're going to be even more successful, to be honest. This has always been the case with us. It's always we will do it in the future. I said that right at the start. I said we may be cursing this, that we've not tried to take advantage of the situation that we're in right now, but who knows? I don't think we could have got into Europe with the squad we have. Unai knows what he's doing. From Stringy, thanks for joining us, mate. I can't remember. Did the owner say Europe in 5 years when they took over? Well, Tony Jaa said that as well, didn't he? But yeah, 5-year plan. But this one seems like it's a little bit more there. Actually, Peter Smith said, did Leeds sign that American that we wanted, Weston McKennie?
I think
they have, haven't they? They've signed him, yeah.
I think that's one player that I thought every time I've seen him, I was so impressed with the obviously that midfield pairing of Tyler Adams and McKennie. When I've seen the USA play, I think he fits perfectly for Leeds. Would he have got past Louise and Kamara? That's the question. Now, if you're going to buy Guendouzi, I don't know if he's exactly the same type of player. I don't know the ins and outs of where Guendouzi would play versus where McKennie would play, but my understanding of McKennie is he's one of those, would be a 6, a pivot kind of player. So
yeah.
I don't know whether they thought he wasn't going to get past those two. I don't know, but I've always liked him. He's someone I thought maybe would have added a bit of value to the squad. And if Leeds got him, we would have thought we could have got him. So that's probably a valid point we could have made.
Yeah, that's one. That's one of them, I think. Yeah. Good point, Peter.
And there's a lot of other talk as well about players like Zaniolo, but I don't think nothing's happened with him. Jack Harrison was linked. Nothing's happened with him.
Yes.
Gallagher's been linked. Nothing's happened with him. And maybe maybe these players.
You don't know how much, like a Jack Harrison, for example. You don't know how much that is to try and force the hand of Leeds by his agent to give him a better contract by saying, "Oh, you might lose him." Yeah,
is he better than Bailey and Traore?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to go to Everton. Thank God that is not us. Absolutely, Tiwan. Yeah. Soupy Mark said it feels like players are being signed for ridiculous prices this window, and that's not going to be sustainable. You only have to look at teams like Barca and Madrid. They've helped pull La Liga down. It does seem like teams are holding players out for ransom, on players. I don't know. This Enzo, what's his name? Enzo Fernandez, yeah, for Chelsea after. I mean, he's 21, 115 million. Like, and they're paying 10 million over the release clause. Like, he's had like 5 good. I know he's done well for Benfica, but he wasn't in the first team for Argentina in the first 2 games. Came in the third game and admittedly was brilliant after that. But are they signing him based off of 4 good games in the World Cup?
Mate, he's played 17 times at Benfica. He scored 1 goal. Was on loan at Defence at just ECA in 2021 and played 14 times and scored 0 goals. And he scored 10 in 40 for River Plate. So, I mean, the potential's there. Like Mudryk, look at the money that Mudryk paid for Mudryk, and he's hardly played.
That's over 200 million on 2 players that you're taking a massive, massive chance on. And then they're going, E.R. Graham, like, sort them out. Like, Potter's not got any say in those players. They're just buying players for him and saying, I'm giving you all these players, you sort it out.
Yeah. So yeah, and maybe like we said, maybe a John Duran does come good. Fingers crossed. He's the. Do you remember when I can't remember when it was. Remember Amir Zaki They played for, was it Wigan or Hull? Maybe Wigan he signed for. And like scored like 6 goals in the first month of the Premier League. But who's this guy? No one's ever, obviously different at the stage of his career, but someone that no one's ever heard of and knows nothing about, and comes in and absolutely rips it up. Maybe that'll be John
You
Duran.
never know.
John Duran.
Yeah. You never know. You absolutely
Yeah.
never know. Weston McKennie, yeah. Andy, yeah, definitely. Gary says Sarr can't be on good money at Watford, but doesn't seem to go anywhere. Yeah, I don't know what his agent's doing. Rachel says, I think we've pulled out of interest. Leeds were the only ones left after Juve's point deduction. Yeah. T1 says, we've got once we are improving. I'm pretty sure they will not leave. Agreeing with other comments, agreeing with McKennie. Yeah. Andy, how much truth in all of our rumours?
It's true.
Yeah, you know, we keep saying it. We love the talk. We all love it. We all love it. We all love the rumours. But most of the time, the transfers are just done with Villa. Like they're never long, drawn out, protracted things. Like generally, it's signed, done. You know, Duran was done. Like, and apparently many clubs wanted him, but it was just done. It was a couple of days with Alex Moreno, but pretty much done. You know, and then Ings was gone in a couple of days. Like they're never really like drawn out sagas where you know, our side are trying to put a press release out to try and put pressure on the club, the selling club. The selling club isn't putting, you know, trying to bait other teams to get involved, or the agents not trying to say, you know, saying that, oh, the deal might be off to try and get Villa to put it through. It always seems to be just done with Villa. So the rumors kind of don't really carry any weight with Villa because we never really go down that route.
Yeah. It's
so
it's the hope that kills you, mate. It's the hope that kills you.
I know. Weston, Michael says Weston turned us down and Leeds have an American manager. Avon Barksdale, there he is from the wire. From the wire.
Love it.
We need a player like Jonathan David, guaranteed goal scorer, or Barbosa. I wouldn't mind Jonathan David, but that's a 40 million plus deal as well. Gary said, would be embarrassing if Duran turns out to be better than Mudryk and other Chelsea signings. It would be amazing. It'd be absolutely amazing. And well, look at Brighton. Look at Mitoma. You know, like look at the players that they get.
Mitoma's so good, and I can't believe like you've got this situation where Chelsea are spending all the money they're spending, and you've only got to look at some of the players. Brighton, Brentford. There's a lot of players out there that are really, really good that have come from fraction of nothing. You know, also you got to think about the coaching as well. You know, I think about someone like a William at Fulham. I thought William was done 2 years ago. He's been great.
Yeah, he was. Well, the Arsenal couldn't wait. The Arsenal fans could not wait to get him out.
I know, and you know, coaching plays a big part, and you've got players at Villa that are seemingly transformed under Emery than under Gerrard. You know, the right kind of system, the right kind of mentality. You know, working for each other, being team players. And if you look at it, okay, I know it's still a bit of an unknown with Duran, but a bench of Duran, Traore, Coutinho, Digne, Dendoncker, Chambers, or you know, well, maybe soon it's going to be Konza if Carlos is back. Is that a terrible bench? I mean, Olsen's not the great best, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the worry for me is you go into the Leicester game, you don't get a result, you lose to City, you lose to Arsenal, and then you're on a bit of a losing run. Get a couple of injuries, but I don't know. I've got to think optimistically. I can't think pessimistically. I've got to believe that the future will be better than rather than the future is going to be terrible. But I'm still a bit concerned.
Yeah, I think we should. Well, we'll do a preview later on this week on Leicester, and I know we're jumping on a couple of Leicester fans podcasts, so it'd be good to see what they think of their window because looks like they've managed to keep hold of Maddison, Tielemans. They've kept, obviously he's out of contract to the end of the season. So they've still got some good players, but it'd be interesting to see what they think of theirs and can they get out of the little rut that they're in. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but definitely one we can win. People saying there about João Felix started the rumor mill with Felix and didn't even get his cat. Link with João Felix ended up with Duran. Transfers are weird. he obviously went to Chelsea, didn't he, João Felix? So he was never really. We were never really in the hat. I wouldn't imagine. Rod said he also said we don't need to worry. He's happy with the window because Emery has got us into the league position. We can afford to wait until the summer. I'm happy enough. It'd just be nice to break, to get to that 50-point barrier, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to get over that. At 28 points as it stands. If we could get 50 points, I'd be really happy with that. I wouldn't want to kind of kill this momentum.
Yeah, that's the key thing. I think you go into next season with good momentum. Teams are a bit worried about you. We're already building a bit of a reputation, aren't we? And I like to think also that the confidence that the team have got, we can take that on. Because actually, as much as been some games where we've been a little bit, flat to deceive, but still got the results, some of the football against Southampton, from what I saw, was absolutely brilliant in terms of the intricate play. And who knows? We could easily beat Leicester. I do think at some point, Arsenal are going to come unstuck. And I mean, they might beat us 4-0, but we've played largely pretty well. We've taken what is it? Is it 16 points out of 21 or something?
Yes, 16 points from the possible 21 and 19 points from a possible 27.
That's unbelievable, really.
So if we beat Leicester on Saturday, that'll be 22 points from a possible 30. So 22 points from 10 games, which is pretty much Champions League form, 2.2 points per game.
And we've only lost to Newcastle at home, who are absolutely unbelievable that game. And Liverpool, who we probably should have got something out of that Liverpool game.
Yeah.
After we've lost to them, we've beaten Man United, we've beaten Brighton.
Drawn with Wolves. Yeah, drawn with Wolves. That's it, basically. Yeah. Guys, we've got some great numbers still tuning in, still watching us. We're going to go till just past 11. See if we do get anything. See if that deal sheet does go through. But it's just good getting your comments in, chewing the fat with you all. But please do leave a like on the video. Please do subscribe if you are new to the channel. Help us break that 950 barrier, get up to 1,000. So please do help us spread the word of the channel. And thank you for all your comments. Thank you for all your support of the channel. It is amazing from all of you. Good point from Super Unai. We've got Super Unai Emery, sorry. He watched Olsen trying to save the ball in a warm-up against Southampton. It was painful to watch. Now, I'm guessing that means, have we missed a trick with a sub-goalkeeper?
It's a question, that, isn't it? I do think that is a good point. But then, is it easy to get a reserve goalie in? Is that a simple thing to do? Do you want to come along and be back up to Emi Martinez? Is it an attractive thing? And does he think that with obviously Olsen and Sinisalo that they've got enough? If Martinez stays fit and his injury record's pretty good, then maybe it's not a problem. But again, is it easy to do that in January? I don't know.
Yeah, I take your point, definitely. Who is going to come in and be second fiddle to a World Cup winner? Who are you going to get as like a quality goalkeeper? I think Tom Heaton went out from Man United, so maybe someone like that. But I don't know. You'd end up with Butland or Wayne Hennessy or something like that, wouldn't you? David Button or something. John Ruddy. You just end up with that.
Forest have signed Keylor Navas, haven't they?
Have they signed him? Because I think there was some like complication with it. Baggies have signed Mark Albrighton.
Have they? That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they've signed him yet, but I think it's pretty close.
I know they were definitely trying to do it because they were saying that he could be in goals on Saturday. Yeah. You're right. Palace have signed Lokonga on loan until the end of the season. So Arsenal have signed Jorginho, obviously from Chelsea. Looks like that Enzo Fernandez is going to get done. Matt Doherty has gone on loan from Tottenham to Atletico Madrid.
It's an interesting deal, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting. Bournemouth, they've made a few signings. They've signed Hamed Traore from Sassuolo in Italy for around 20 million. So again, unproven. Nottingham Forest have signed Atletico Madrid defender Felipe on an 18-month deal, 33 years old. No players for Everton so far, I don't think. They're
They're,
probably just after anybody.
they're done, aren't they, Everton? I don't know what Dyche is thinking.
Well, he's in a no-lose situation, isn't he? Because if he keeps them up, it's an amazing achievement. If they go down, then they've got the perfect manager almost to get them back up.
Well, yeah, I
So,
guess, but I don't know. I think they're awful, and from
they're like Villa were 2015-16. You can't keep flirting with it, and you can't keep selling your best players. And not replacing them. Like, you can't get rid of Richarlison, and not bring anybody else in. And then obviously Anthony Gordon now. So they're just kind of selling their assets, aren't they? And then they'll get the best players for the championship. Soupy Mark, the fact that all these links come from supposedly in the know sources external to the club, there's only really a couple of that are fairly reliable, Romano and Percy. The only rumour I'm sure about is Guendouzi. I'd also add our friend of the pod, Tom Colomossi, as well to that. So I'd say three reliable sources.
Yeah.
Michael says Chelsea paid 9 million for a 4-month loan for Felix with no option to buy. Villa fans live from week to week, and we needed a momentum role with a top signing. I think you mentioned that the other day, didn't you? Like, it would be just great. It would have been great to have like a big name, like a top signing, just to galvanise the club almost.
Yeah, it would have been brilliant. Just, and also to keep the fans thinking, hang on a minute, we mean business here. And that, whether if they could have landed one of a Guendouzi or a David or a Ziyech or just someone that is a real name, that would have been brilliant, wouldn't it? Wouldn't brilliant, because I see a lot of players moving that I've never heard of, going to clubs in Europe and even the Premier League, and I think, well, maybe they turn out to be absolutely unbelievable, but unless you want to pay 40 million quid for someone that maybe isn't brilliant, what are you going to do? But it would have been great, wouldn't it? It would have been great. And the surprise to me, as I've said many times, is that we let Ings go without bringing a striker, because I'm basing it on Emery saying that he thinks Duran's one for the future. Yeah, maybe that was.
We'll see. We'll see if he comes on Saturday and we're 2-0 up, and he comes on and then bangs a goal in. We know that he's ready. So, yeah. Where's your yellow ties? It's a good one. Next year we'll do it. Next year. Yeah. Marine boys joining us. We don't need anyone. We go with what we've got. Well, it looks like we're going to have to right now.
No choice.
Are you surprised that anybody bid for Martinez?
Maybe the same problem. Do you want to sell in the January window? Do you? You left with Olsen then. So maybe they did, but I don't know. I mean, he loves the Villa, doesn't he, Martinez? He loves the Villa. He ain't going anywhere. Maybe we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens in the summer. But yeah, I couldn't see that in the January window. Oh, bloody hell. Rachel's. Imagine summer will be the bids for Emmy, Kamara, Dougie and Ramsey. Bloody hell.
Well, that's a good point, because if we don't show ambition and bring people in, that's the challenge. So let's see what happens. I'm hoping once it turns from June to July, that there's some big signings sorted out already. Maybe deals are done. I'd like to know that. That would give us some real confidence, wouldn't it, if we've got some big players in, to give those players the sense that, hang on a minute, we mean business.
Yeah. Super Unai says we should go for Onana in the summer if they go down.
Who?
I do like him.
Who's that? What's his name?
What's his name?
Oh, no. I apologise.
Gary says, am I the only one who thinks Gordon is half decent? I think he's a good player. I just don't know if he's worth 45 million. But I mean, it's not. I don't care. It's not my money. But it's just a lot of money for a 21-year-old.
I think he showed times last season. He showed like a real potential, direct, quick. But yeah, see what happens.
Jam Jack's in the house. Confident with the players we have, but come on, just one big hitter, please. Come on up the Villa. I think we're just gonna be a bit too late for it, I'm afraid, mate. Let's focus on a couple of the ones that have left. So let's talk Nakamba. Never really had a look in this season. Was starting to play well under Gerrard a couple of games into Gerrard's early reign, and then got injured and just hasn't really had his had a chance since then. Gone to Luton in the Championship, they've won tonight, so they're doing quite well. It's got to be a decent move for him, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. I think he always put a shift in, didn't he? I think his work rate, he was basically like Kante, wasn't he? In terms of going and getting around a pitch, just his passing range wasn't particularly great. So, I think going to someone like Luton, I think a few people said a few comments.
They're fourth in the Championship as it stands.
Good move. He's linking up with Lansbury again, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I think fair play to him. I think he did a job, didn't he, for us at times? But clearly, he isn't going to get past some of the players. If you look at the pecking order, you've obviously got Dougie and Kamara. You've got Dendoncker currently. What happens with him in the summer, we'll see. You've got Eric Bonham, obviously, when he's back in the squad. I don't think he's going to get a look in, is he?
No, and if you can get a decent job at Luton, who knows? They're fourth in the table at the moment. They might get promoted. You're getting what, 8, 9, 10 million for him, something like that.
You might do. I even think someone like an Arjun Reike's possibly even ahead of him potentially.
Yeah.
So I just think that we've got to think. We've not done that so often over the years. You've got to think sensibly, haven't you? If you can make these players get some minutes, if Luton do well, or even if they don't get promoted and he has a storming end to the season and he's seen as this scurrying midfielder, who basically mops everything up, then maybe someone buys him for a decent fee.
Yeah. This thief, I think it might be a spammer because he just keeps putting OR in here.
Maybe he knows something we don't.
Maybe.
Or maybe he's saying OR, but he can't spell it properly.
But yeah, people just mentioning marvellous, just saying, Gerrard's initial decent start ended with him getting crocked. So yeah, I think it'd be a decent move for him. I had a picture of Aaron Ramsey as well, but I must not have saved that. But he's gone to where's he gone? Middlesbrough. So that's linking up with Cameron Archer, and is it what's his name? Who's the coach? My mind's escaping me.
Michael Carrick.
Yeah, Michael Carrick, but the one who was at Villa.
Oh, Aaron Danks.
Aaron Danks, yeah, he's there, so that's obviously a connection there. So yeah, there's Aaron Ramsey. Good move for him. He done well at Norwich earlier on this season. Guys got injured, obviously, but good move. Another good club in the Championship, doing well. Linking up with like I say, with Cameron Archer, Aaron Danks. You've got to get game time for these kids.
Got to. And you think about the level as well. You've got him and Archer at Borough. You've got Philogene Bidace at Cardiff. You've got Davies at Watford. They're obviously getting moves to decent clubs.
Yeah.
And that's important because you've seen maybe with Alou Barry, he hasn't. He's at Salford now. He hasn't really shown huge amounts at Swindon and MK Dons. And that's not to say he won't come good, but the chances are, the more and more you're at the lower leagues. I don't think Brad Young, did too much, obviously, when he was out on loan.
No, he was at Ayr United, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And Carlisle before that. I think they liked him. I think he had a lot. Again, work rate was really good. Potentially didn't score enough goals. I was just seeing if Louis Barry came on for like the last couple of minutes tonight for Salford, but they beat Walsall 1-0. So they're fifth in League Two, Salford. So it's not as if he's gone to a team battling at the bottom. He's gone into a team that's in a decent position. So he's going to, like Gary said there, he needs to bulk up. And he does, like playing League Two. He just needs regular games. If someone gives him regular games, I know it's difficult with kids at that age and he's quite small and slight. But the more regular games he has, the more he's gonna bulk up. So yeah, it's just if they can give him that game time.
Yeah.
Look at what we got here. I wonder who we would have signed if Gerrard was still in charge. Probably Jamie Carragher or something.
Yeah, it could have been anyone, couldn't it? Could have been. Well, we were linked with so many players also with Gerrard, weren't we? We linked with all of obviously the Rangers, like Ryan Kent and obviously Kamara.
Yeah. It's amazing how that no Rangers players are linked anymore, are they at all?
Yeah, it's easy, isn't it? It's easy to do the link.
Yeah.
I tell you what we should talk about briefly Look about Villa's ladies showing how you dispatch a lower league team in the FA
Was it
Cup.
12-0?
Was it? I think it was 11-0, wasn't it?
Oh, 11-0. Yeah, sorry, 11-0.
Absolute round of applause. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's how you dispatch a team that you should beat. Take note, Aston Villa men's team.
I believe they've got West Ham in the next round.
Yeah, and Stoke, obviously, who did what you should do. They've got Brighton, haven't they, at home? I think so.
I don't know. Yeah, must be there. I think Gary said Stoke did the business. Yeah, just so annoying, isn't it?
It
so
is annoying. Another missed opportunity, isn't it? Like we do.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover? We got 20 minutes. Get your questions in, get your comments in. I don't think we're going to do anything, unfortunately.
Nothing to talk about. We're really trying to keep this going, but Villa are giving us absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
We've talked squad, we've talked signings, we've talked outgoings. Yeah. I mean, are there going to be any more outgoings? We talked Chambers potentially going to West Ham. Reiki, could he go out on loan? Brad Young, could he go out on loan? Kane, Kessler Hayden, could he go out? I mean, if there's another 20 minutes, would you see any of those guys going?
Potentially, but I mean, obviously, anything can happen pretty late on. But you think you would have heard something by now, wouldn't you? There's not too much new stuff kicking around, is there now, in terms of potential deals? Anything that's potential, it's just whether it's going to get over the line.
Yeah.
You've heard about a lot of stuff, like the Fernandes deal, for example, the Harry Suter deal at Leicester. It's whether it gets confirmed, and that's it. But it's generally out there, isn't it? So I'd be very, very surprised if anything came up now.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through Twitter. There's no links to those young players going out. I'm just surprised that, that no one's come in for Kessler Hayden or Reiki or someone like that. It's just a bit of a surprise. One thing I did want to talk, I've just scrolled past it, is this it's not transfer talk, it's sponsorship talk. And I know you mentioned it the other week. This sponsorship deal with online casino BK8, and it looks like it was kind of really vague as to where and how they were going to sponsor us, but it's looking like they're actually going to be our shirt sponsor for the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Apparently it's happening.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know where I stand on it because I don't know enough about it, right? And in terms of gambling, look, gambling companies are involved in football sponsorship all over. Sky Bet, Paddy Power, all that. They're all in it. So that's just a fact of it. What I don't like though, what I've really loved about these last kits is Kazoo is having it on the kids' kits. Like I hate the junior kits without the sponsor.
Yeah,
they just look crap.
Yeah.
I know it's a minor point. I know it should be more about like the gambling and stuff, but I just don't like it. It's like as if they're not part of the club. It's as if the kids aren't part of the club.
And do you know what I think about that as well? I mean, probably not normally for a Villa podcast, but it really annoys me this nanny state situation. Like, when they're taking like, fast food advertising. If I want to eat 57 burgers, let me eat 57 burgers. And do you think my 8-year-old's going to go and put 15 quid on a horse because he's got gambling on his shirt? Sure, there's got to be something said for how you're raised, and, does it make you more likely to smoke fags if you've got, embassy on the front of your shirt? Listen, the way of the world, isn't it? But I agree, mate. I think it looks not as authentic. The controversy itself, obviously, is because they were using sexually explicit images, weren't they, to promote it? But
right, okay,
yeah.
Well, if you check out the new Sam Smith music video, then
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but it's just not a good look and good feel from a club that I've had acorns on the shirt not that long ago. I've still got a couple of acorns tops kicking around, actually. Night quality, so it lasts a bit. And that felt like a really good decision that we made. Remember how feel good that was under Villa? We gave our sponsorship to a local hospice.
Yeah.
We're going to get Champions League. But then the other thing is this: maybe they're looking at it and thinking the deal is so good that potentially it pays for the wages of a couple of players. and maybe they're making a commercial decision, but they're letting a little bit of themselves die. But also, like, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but there's plenty of companies that use sexual images to sell. It's, listen, what level of on the pantheon of offence, is it?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know. It just, like you say, it's not a great look, and I think the worst part of it is, um, no, this is a major thing with many businesses, as we know, Kev. Communication, like, it hasn't been communicated to supporters as to, like, it was so ambiguous. How were they going to sponsor us? Where were they going to sponsor us? Was it going to be on the side of the shirt? Was it going to be on the shorts? It's turned that out now. It's the main sponsor, and you can almost understand now why they didn't say anything about it, because it's the main sponsor. But it's just like, if something had been communicated in terms of, look, this was the deal, it was this, and this. We understand that fan supporters are going to be disappointed or whatever, but we've gone with it because we've got to pay for the ground, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. Then at least people would have disagreed with it, but they could have understood the rationale. Whereas everything's so vague about it, then it comes out and it seems like it's all like kind of skullduggery and kind of smoke and mirrors, and it's not a great look. And as I say, I think Gary said there about, the shirts look a bit weird. It's, whether they do, yeah, whether we argue about whether children would be influenced by having a BK8 on their shirt, I don't think so, because I don't know who it is, but that's the rules, and it just doesn't look. I just don't think the kits look good. Obviously we had, was it Unibet? We had 32 Red, and the shirts look crap.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it would be nice to have a better sponsor, but also that's the other thing we've got to think. We are a team that, where did we finish last year? 16th, was it 15th, whatever?
14th, I think.
Yeah, we're a team that are 11th in the Premier League, and you start pushing for the top 6, top 8, you start getting in Europe, you're going to get more attractive sponsors. You look at the sponsors of the teams in the top 4, 6, and I don't think they've got gambling sponsors on their shirts. So,
like investment banks and stuff like that, which is one step away from gambling, to be fair. But
well, actually, we want to talk about the ethics of some of the things as well. Like that is a very slippery slope, because we talk about ethics, but is it ethical what Chelsea are doing to football right now? Is it ethical what Newcastle and Man City have done to football? I'm not trying to defend BK8. That was never my intention when I talked about the point as well. But I don't think there's anything illegal, and there's plenty of companies that will use images, and I think someone put in the comments, like, people are adults.
Yeah.
You're going to start to get your notebook out and decide what is acceptable and not acceptable based on what feels good to some people. I agree. Would I rather Villa were sponsored by someone a bit nicer? Maybe I would. Cadbury's, local firm, but maybe Cadbury's are doing stuff, with people to make chocolate cheap.
I don't think Cadbury's have sponsored football clubs, have they?
Yeah, just that Birmingham.
I get it. No, but he would be one of those logical ones. But then you'd probably get people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be promoting chocolate because it's bad for kids." Like,
well, yeah. Obviously, we were sponsored by Rover, and then look what happened to Rover afterwards. So
yeah. I don't know, but yeah, it is obviously it's caused a little bit of debate on Twitter and stuff, and if you judge Twitter, by any sort of stretch of the imagination, you shouldn't be using that as your barometer for society, basically. And I think once the kind of storm blows over, people are still going to buy the shirts. We sign a Jonathan David or a Gwen Doozy or whoever in the summer, and everyone will buy it with their name on the back. It's just one of them. It's a little bit of outrage, and then everyone will just calm down.
Absolutely, and that's the culture we live in now, isn't it? People will get offended by everything, and if it's genuinely offensive because there's been using like pictures of kids in images or drugs or whatever, like, then clearly that's not a good look. But I mean, I don't know too much about it. Maybe it comes out they've done stuff actually that I would disagree with. But who are we to decide who Villa use for their sponsorship? If they want to use something that is not particularly liked by some of the fans, but I think a lot of the fans want success. I seriously question the fact, if you asked our fans, would they rather have Newcastle's owners or our owners? Well, I feel like I'd rather have our owners, because they're as rich as... How rich do you need to be how many billions do you need to have to make yourself competitive? But if you look at what's happened with Man City, look at having Newcastle, PSG, are you selling a little bit of your soul to... there's a lot of actual Man City fans that have got quite a bit of discontent. If you look at some of the splinter groups and stuff about what it used to be like and what it's like now, So you've got to be careful what you wish for. It does feel good for Villa having two owners that I feel haven't got any murky past. Now, someone might tell me something about Wes or Nassef, but it doesn't feel like that in terms of their investments. So that makes me feel a little bit morally superior, but I also want the team to succeed. So as long as it's not illegal, then who am I to say what they can and can't do for their, to bring revenue into the club?
Yeah. Just on that with the owners, are the owners changing tack with Villa? Have they brought in a coach in Unai Emery to kind of get the best out of the players first before throwing money at it? Are they being a bit more stingy with what they've spent so far? Is this move come from the owners, would you say?
Potentially, we have spent a lot of money on players that haven't necessarily worked out. We did obviously the whole thing to try and stay in the Premier League. When we brought in players, some look at like a Doug Luiz, you'd argue obviously have worked out. People like Wesley, perhaps not. Samatta, perhaps not, etc., etc. And a few others, Nakamba, perhaps not. But we did just enough, didn't we, to stay in the Premier League?
Yeah,
we've kicked on since then with players like Watkins. You'd probably say has largely been a success based on the goal return and the contribution. Buendia, jury's out. We've kicked on with players. But the average age of the squad obviously shot up quite a bit under Gerrard.
Yeah.
So maybe they just want to consolidate, get rid of... My hope is we've got rid of a lot of that dead wood with a view to obviously sell a lot of it in the summer to then build a really, really just potent squad of the right kind of blend of youth and experience that can attack the league. Because all Villa fans want us to reach our potential. And, being able to knock on the door of Europe and at least have a good go in the Cups. And do you know what? Just to be competitive against the big teams. You probably say Man City are a level above, or have been traditionally. But we just want a competitive team, don't we?
Yeah.
Actually buying players in.
And the team with a plan that we seem to have now. Like, obviously, we've done those talking tactics shows where please do check them out through... I think we've covered the last 5 victories under Unai Emery. Like, just coincidentally, we haven't done one when we've lost. To be fair, we didn't manage to get one done after the Liverpool game, but every one we've done, we've won. And there's been a slightly different tactic. There's been something employed in that game that's been slightly different. There's been more of the Unai Emery way being coached into the players. So this is what we're hoping for as the season goes on as well. And maybe Emery said, look, I want to just work with these 20 players that I've got right now and make them as good as they can be, and then I'll add to the squad with quality that I know can fit into what I want to do. But at the moment, I want to work with these players that I've got at this moment in time.
Yeah, and maybe he just feels like he hasn't got anybody that he wants to bring in that he thinks can enhance that. So we have to respect that. If it turns out that the owners haven't backed him and there's been deals available, and it comes out, in a few years when we have Unai on the Villa Park podcast in a couple of years, and he talks about his time at Villa where I could have got Guendouzi over the line, but they wouldn't pay the release clause. Then until then, we have to just live in hope, don't we?
Yeah. I'll keep refreshing BBC Sport, but Albrighton looks like he's going to West Brom, as I mentioned before. Chelsea have agreed the £105 million deal for Fernandes. So that would be a British record fee. He's now having a medical. I just can't believe it. They've got him, Mudryk, Sterling is still there. Aubameyang's still there. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Absolutely crazy, mate. It really is. It really is absolutely mental what they're doing.
Really. 6 minutes of the window to go, people. As I said before, please do drop a like if you haven't already. And we've broken the 950 barrier, Kev. You'll be pleased to know.
Get in.
So we are 951 subscribers.
Thanks, everyone.
Fantastic. So thank you all. If you haven't yet subscribed, then please hit that subscribe button for us, and help us get to that 1,000 mark. Would be phenomenal. We've got 42 watching. We're on 29 likes. So that doesn't match up where I'm 43 watching actually. So yeah, please do hit that like button just to help us spread the word of the channel. Yes, 5 minutes of the window to go. Did I start a couple of questions here?
Spurs have just signed Pedro Porro from Sporting.
Have they signed him?
Yeah, it's confirmed. Yeah.
I think we've covered these. I don't. Yeah, we've got a question now about Europe, but I just don't know if we've got it in us. Few comments. Think it's just nearly every ad on the TV is gambling ad, and people are just fed up. I agree. Totally agree. We've got Super in Emery. 10 minutes to go. Waiting for the ball boy to join from Forest. The summer will be the biggest barometer on where we're going in the future. Absolutely. Breaking news: Leon Bailey's dad, Craig Butler, is our new spokesman. What a signing! It is possible, to break into the top 6. Just look at Newcastle. Great point. Gary Howler, only if we do it on the non-oil money way. And Gary said, would have been 1,000 by now if we'd have signed somebody today.
Yeah, I thought that, Gary.
Yeah, we'd have had thousands watching today if we'd have signed someone.
If we'd have broken, if I'd have managed to get that outside of Bodymoor Heath today, if the security hadn't stopped me and I'd seen Jonathan David driving in, imagine he said to me, "Excuse me, mate, which one of Bodymoor Heath?" I'm like, "You Jonathan David?"
Would he have said that? Would he said it in that accent? Would he?
Yeah. Well, he grew up just outside Birmingham, Jonathan David.
He moved to Canada as a youngster. Yeah.
Not on Wikipedia.
Oh, here we go. Lamar Bogard has joined Bristol Rovers on loan.
Late Villa news. We told you there'd be late Villa news.
We told you you'd get some. Yeah. So young player, Dutchman Lamar Bogard has joined Bristol Rovers. Is that League One?
Bristol Rovers. I think they're League One, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Joey Barton's their manager.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be a good move for him.
Yeah.
Let's see where they are in League One as it stands. So Bristol Rovers are currently 12th at the moment in League One. So they are 6 points off the playoffs, so not too far off the playoffs. So not a bad standard for him. I think that's his first move out of the club. I think that's his first loan move out of the club. So good experience for him.
Do you reckon? Do you reckon Unai's at home now, like watching us on YouTube, laughing, thinking, "Idiots, what are you doing? Been done."
You're waiting.
Yeah. What are you doing, lads? Come on. There's about a minute and a half left, isn't there?
About a minute and a half. So we gave you some breaking news. News of going out of the club. And I didn't say Bogard, did I, about going out on loan?
No, you didn't. So this has been actually got really good, insightful news on this podcast tonight.
Yeah. It looks like Nottingham Forest have signed. They have signed Keylor Navas.
Right.
Keylor Navas to Nottingham Forest. Agreement in place on a loan deal from PSG until the end of the season. He's accepted Forest days ago and it's now sealed. Documents signed. Yeah, so there might be one or two things coming through as it hits 11.
Yeah.
Lamar Bogard's 19 at the moment. He's only 19, so gone to a League One club at 19. It's not too bad. Greg Evans just reporting it now. Forest look like they're going to sign possibly somebody else. Forest, is that for Navas? I think that might be for Navas.
Do you reckon Forest and Chelsea having a competition?
Must be.
Yeah, must be. Oh, Gary's comment there is great. You got to pop that up. Gone to Castle. Very good. It was worth it for that, Gary.
Keep on the right side of Joey Barton, definitely.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Lamar
Departure podcast.
Yeah, that was your exclusive on the Villa Park podcast, and Andy Vale says, "Great show, guys. Thank you, mate. Even though our news was depressing, well, we try and keep it. We try and keep it upbeat. We definitely tried, Kev, because we know we've got to trust in the manager. We've had a great run. Why is there any need to be despondent? We might not have signed a couple of one or two players that we maybe thought we could have got, but I think many people in the comments have said that if they're not available now, get them in the summer. Why pay over the odds for players that you don't necessarily want? We've just got rid of 7 or 8 players that we don't want. So, you know, we've got to look at it. We've got to look at it in optimism.
Trust him. What else can we do? You have to trust. He hasn't let us down yet. He hasn't let us down yet, and we've had some great results. And we might regret this situation, but let's just trust him and let's give the lads the support that they need.
Yeah.
Done, isn't it?
Great stuff. Well, thanks, Kev, and thanks for all you guys watching, and thanks for all your comments. You guys have made the show. I mean, 100%. Gary's there said we've filled the transfer show without any transfers. So we and it comes from your comments.
To Bristol Rovers.
Yeah, what are you on about, Gary? Yeah.
Gary.
We knew that was coming. We knew we spoke to Fabrizio on the blower. Yeah. So yeah, but no, honestly, you guys make it. You know, all the comments coming in, we wouldn't have literally anything to talk about if we didn't have your questions and your comments coming in. So thank you for that. And we'll be back towards the end of the week with the Leicester preview. Premier League football is back after a FA Cup break. So we'll be back with proper football on the weekend, and we're back with a preview show. So please look out for that. As I said before, please drop a like on the video if you haven't already, and please do subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1K. Kev, thanks so much, mate. See you soon. And remember, we all follow the killer.
Thanks everyone.